Hello guys, welcome to a Trading Parrot. I'm gonna do the daily review of altcoins performance, including Bitcoin dominance, total 3, 2, 1. Today specifically, I'm gonna cover the funding rates across all the coins to see how heated we are and what sort of correction we could be deserving in the next few days. If you want to trade any altcoins and have less issues, consider opening an account on Bluffing. They're even offering an iPhone 17 depending on how much you trade and how much you deposit into the exchange. Of course, use the link in the description to secure your rewards, which you can get from any size of deposit. Don't worry, because this exchange is not necessarily requiring KYC, so you can get up and running in just a few minutes. We had a few big performers today, some double digits, like XPL and Kake. BNB continues the rally that started already from earlier before, with new all-time highs. Finally, I'm seeing some moves on Link. This is good. Hopefully, we can continue in this direction. By market cap, we can see that this time Ethereum is taking the lead. In the previous days, Ethereum was lagging behind. They were both in the green, sure, but Ethereum was pushing less than Bitcoin. And now Bitcoin is at 2% and Ethereum at 3%. Of course, this could be just a swing, but it's always something to note, particularly on the daily time frame. Remember that there is a flow. And if we start seeing Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin, it could indicate that people are perceiving that Bitcoin found a top and that it's time to trade the next market cap. Watch out when that message is clearer and pay attention. It might not be this time, but we always keep the eyes open on a daily basis in this channel. We are printing a symmetrical triangle in here at around 67 on the altcoin season index that usually precedes some additional upside. This cycle owns us some decent altcoin season. We've been at a maximum of ATH, but that lasted less than a few days. And in this particular one, we maxed at around 80, and we've been hinting with the idea that we could have a second entry into altcoin season, which only technically means being at 75%, outperforming all the other coins in the past 90 days. You can see what has already outperformed Bitcoin. The top one is M with 531%. Interesting, because I never saw that one. MNT, of course, SEC, IP, Pengu, CRO, INA, BNB. I have some CRO from the previous cycle, and at some point I want to get rid of it, but it's still not good price for me. BNB 93%, Ethereum right behind it. Watch my recent video on BNB where I do a ratio against BNB to Ethereum. There is a key signal coming in. Avalanche, Solana, Doge. I'm interested in ADA, of course, because I need to distribute that crap. Altcoins in terms of interest still here at 31. I know many of you think that Google Trends is no longer a thing. You can see that Cointelegraph is highlighting BNB chain as topping all blockchains in the past 24-hour fees, followed closely by Hyperliquid and Solana. Tron has been in the back. Every time that there is a correction, I've seen Tron spiking massively, and that is because many people need to move their USDT or they sell their Bitcoin and they park those profits into Tron, which tends to make Tron move up against the trend. Blunts is saying good news for alts, confirm fake out on BTC dominance with some nice bearish divergences, expecting this to continue drifting to fresh lows. And this is on the 8-hour time frame in here, as you can see. I am tracking the weekly and we are seeing just a move down. I'll show you later in the video. Not before looking at what Dan is saying today. The total crypto market cap has made a new all-time high. This one includes Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin definitely is doing the heavy lifting in here with over 2 trillion out of the 4.22. The previous consolidation took about 3 months, right on top of the late 2024 post-election highs. All in all, the crypto market cap only trades 12% higher than those 2024 highs as we speak. Meanwhile, the DXY is down almost that amount during this time. This is just pushing every risk asset up over the last year. But do not miss the general market video that I put on a daily basis, because currently behind all curtains, the dollar index is threatening to bounce from the multi-year support. At least its weekly time frame RSI is hinting towards that thesis. If we get such a thing and we go over $100 on the dollar index, that might not necessarily help. We have run together with the dollar, but that's kind of the exception, not the rule. Ethereum range low deviation and retake setup work out well. I was calling for a move below 4K in the past, and I say I was gonna accumulate in this area. I'm very annoyed that I couldn't accumulate more. Not very annoyed, but I could have added more if we get closer to the 3.5. I added just a tiny bit, and I'm currently rallying that into the highs. As I say, I still expect Ethereum to do some additional move to the upside. Look at this, we have a green engulfing candle that is bouncing perfectly from the multi-year support on the weekly RSI. This is actually the monthly, so it's even bigger, the signal. We are on 7th of October, so let's wait and see if October is going to hold that. Bitcoin should drive the upside and Ethereum should follow up. Yesterday we saw Ethereum pinching 4.7K, and as I show you, seeing Ethereum taking the lead in here makes me a little bit sketchy about what could be coming next with Bitcoin if Ethereum is already 2 steps ahead of itself. Remember, Ethereum needs to wait for Bitcoin to find an area to range. So Ethereum, if it continues too much higher, it might be signaling that Bitcoin is going to range where it is. It's just an intra-candle observation, not a confirmed signal. Others for the month now is pointing down after 2 months to the upside in a breakout. That is not a bad thing. It could be a pullback that needs to be bought up for additional upside. That is others against Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is also putting pressure for others here to push down. And the potential signal for USD dominance to break down against total 3 is still in play. We are in the neckline right now. Hopefully we close the week below 2164 to put a decent signal that all this bearish pattern wants to go at least to 19, or in the best scenario to 12. If we did that, that is a massive altcoin season. Total 3 is playing against the highs in here. You can see higher lows and smashing that resistance of 65 on the RSI. We got coming in immediately after that a 70.33 resistance that comes with this downwards sloping line on the RSI that comes in at 125 trillion, and we are currently trading at 117 trillion. So watch out with that resistance on total 3. That excludes Ethereum and Bitcoin. Yeah, we have the 90 there. That 90 has an incredible price of 264, but let's leave that for later. I told you we were gonna cover the funding rate. I wanna see what's going on in here. I'm gonna magnify this as much as I can and see where we are at the moment relative to previous times. On 2025, before the end of 2024, we got funding rates peaking massively. We also had it in early 2024 into April and at the end of 2024. In 2023, some funding rates coming out from the bottom of the market in Bitcoin. So looking at this in perspective, we can see that we haven't had funding rates really as big as the previous cycle. That makes it very clear. If you want to know which ones are with high funding rates, probably those are the coins that have done already big progress in the past months. So for example, if we go into the monthly, these bubbles in here definitely are with high funding rates. People are trading long. Or if we look into the yearly on Crypto Bubbles, which is a free website. I could go scrolling like this, but it's just too difficult to see. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. We got XMR with 37, but very far from what it used to be. It was at 453 early 2025. That's where it put a peak. Some of them peak later like virtual, started rallying after everybody else peaked. We got Trado Or is pretty high, Truth not very high relative to the rest, but not very high relative to what it has done in the past. So some coins are starting to enter into the red, but as you can see, there is a lot of additional increase that we could be expecting for funding rates to really call it an altcoin season. Notice that these areas in red coincide with these peaks of altcoin season, and they lasted very short, and they happen to have more funding rates than in here. So that divergence tells me maybe we should, or we deserve at least, to get a bit more of altcoin season in this cycle, particularly because we are at the end of the topping year according to past performance, and from that October, November into maximum March is where we have seen those funding rates going really nuts. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.